I want to ask you a question, and that is, what is in your life's blueprint? This is the most important and crucial period of your lives, for what you do now and what you decide now at this age may well determine which way your life shall go. And whenever a building is constructed, you usually have an architect who draws a blueprint. And that blueprint serves as the pattern, as the guide, as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected process as the model for those who are to build the building. And a building is not well erected without a good, sound, and solid blueprint. Now, each of you is in the process of building the structure of your lives. And the question is whether you have a proper, a solid, and a sound blueprint. And I want to suggest some of the things that should be in your life's blueprint. Number one, in your life's blueprint should be a deep belief in your own dignity, your own worth, and your own somebodyness. Don't allow anybody to make you feel that you are nobody. Always feel that you count. Always feel that you have worth. And always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Now, that means that you should not be ashamed of your color. You know, it's very unfortunate that in so many instances, our society has placed a stigma on the Negro's color. And you know, there are some Negroes who are ashamed of themselves. But don't be ashamed of your color. Don't be ashamed of your biological features. Somehow you must be able to say in your own lives and really believe it, I am black but beautiful. And believe it in your heart. And therefore you need not be lured into purchasing cosmetics advertised to make you lighter. Neither do you need to process your hair to make it appear straight. I have good hair, and it is as good as anybody else's hair in the world. And we've got to believe that.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. So we back again, first of all, shouts out to everybody that's out there, everybody that's been listening and paying attention. Um, we're definitely going to keep going with the Black History thing, you know. But before we do that, of course, everybody knows that tomorrow, I think, is going to be Martin Luther King Day. So, you know, you already know how we do over here. So, you know, salute to Martin Luther King. You know, we're not gonna do like deep dives like we've done in the past. Here, we're gonna keep going with history, but we still say, you know, shouts out to MLK Day, and let's play some little known facts about.
While he consistently advocated for nonviolence, MLK planned to keep that thing on him. After having his home bombed, his family threatened, being shot at, King had had enough. So in 1956, MLK went to get a concealed carry permit in Montgomery, Alabama. But he was denied by a racist sheriff. This bigot deemed King to be unsuitable for gun ownership because he was black. Mind you, this man remained sheriff until 1991. And while King never carried a gun, it's often said that he had volunteer bodyguards who weren't afraid to squeeze the trigger. I bet you didn't know that MLK was about that life. While he consistently
And you see there, you know, you see he had the Deacons of Defense. Like, so I know they give you one aspect of MLK, but there was many aspects to him. So, and a
Martin
lot
Luther
of people
King
don't
used to
know
carry
this
a
one.
weapon and even apply for a concealed handgun permit. In January of 1956, after his house was firebombed, Dr. Martin Luther King applied to the local sheriff for a concealed handgun permit. However, he was denied on the grounds that he was deemed unsuitable. Family members and friends were concerned for King's safety and urged him to hire a bodyguard or at least an armed watchman. But after a meeting with Bayard Rustin to show his support for the Montgomery bus boycott, the meeting would forever change King and the civil rights movement. King had read the philosophy of pacifism, but he had not yet embraced it into his life. When Bayard Rustin arrived in Montgomery, Dr. King and Coretta owned a gun, but Bayard Rustin's influence encouraged them to reconsider and accept pacifism as a way of life. King came to the realization that it would be hypocritical for him to carry a weapon even for his own protection, stating, "How could I serve as a leader of a nonviolent movement and at the same time use a weapon of violence for my own protection?" Martin Luther King used to carry.
Well, you know, as they would say, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition, right? That's would be some mottos, but you know, it depends on what your goal is here, you know. But I just wanted to bring that to you because I don't want you to think that it's just me here, right? But as we go along with history, right, and I'll just stick to my lane, right, since certain things be offensive, but it just plays out over and over and over and over again with this whole history thing. You know what I'm saying? And we do the same things all over and over and over again, you know? And if it's one thing that I learned, you know, from that event and all of the events, what's going on, Erica? Shouts out to Erica in the building. And yeah, we're gonna talk about that Black Panther brother you sent me, my that was out there, you know. Um, but if it's one thing that we have to learn at some point is that we have no friends, right? So let's just move forward with the history aspect of it. All right, so we're gonna pick up where we left off, and we're not gonna go too far. I got some other stuff, but I'll save it for like Wednesday when we come back on Wednesday. But we'll just pick up where we left off right here. The Pilgrims in Massachusetts was trying their best to be the worst. And for a long time, this war has been an economic war. So, to ensure that Black people were unable to provide and sustain for themselves, the Pilgrims in Massachusetts passed a law forbidding Christians or white people from engaging in commerce or trade with Black people, whether they were free or enslaved. So even if you were a free Black man in Massachusetts, the Pilgrims said white people could not do business with you at all. Although you could still do business with other Black people. But with all the rules against free and what do I think? I don't know about what is that? A Black man named UNC, a Black man named Unc at the barbecue place. What do you what happened? I don't know what that is. What's going on, my brother Anthony? You gotta send me that joint, Erica. I don't even know what that is. But all right. And enslaved black people, it made it that much harder. Now we can clearly see the difference between black people. All right, so anyway, so the first point, right? The main aspect of this, their system is created, right? And the roots and everything, where we can see it to today and all of that, right? It's economic warfare, right? Like Ida B. Wells has said before, they broke it down because, okay, yeah, send it to me because I didn't even see that. Uh, we definitely, and I'll show that Wednesday. But the key principle to this is economic warfare. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's to keep us economically, starving. Just like with this movie that they had in the 1950s, The Art of Selling to or The Secret to Selling to the Negro.
Buy. Why do they buy? How do you sell to them? Let's find out. Let's hear the opinion of men who have spent a lifetime studying the buying habits of customers the world over. Here is what sales psychologists have to say about selling to the Negro.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that.
Just
People
want to be
want to be
recognized.
recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro
It damn sure show up in a lot of coon habits, that's for sure, or clone habits. The need to be recognized, ain't that something? Now, this mentality, which I feel is one of the driving forces, along with fear and all of that stuff, we want to be recognized and we want to find some kind of way that love can prevail over everything. You know what I'm saying? But love starts with the self first.
customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off brands. Do you wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand, that's the first important Negro buying habit. Now for the second. The Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer. This woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware. But she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
All right, always trying to buy the admiration of your friends and relatives, and that not only goes within our community, it definitely goes without.
I can hardly wait to show it to Sally and Joan.
It's a well-known fact.
It's and gonna
Many
think I'm
Negro customers are
equal
influenced
to her.
by the opinions of others. What their friends may think of a certain item often decides whether or not the sale is made. So remember, the Negro buys quality merchandise. That's the second important point. And here's the third thing to remember when selling to a Negro customer. When he specifically asks for one thing, don't try to sell him something else. Don't try to switch him at the point of...
All right. So basically, they study us. We got to realize that, right? It's not no coincidence that the mindset that we have, the mentality that we coming from, and the lack of knowledge to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over and over, right? And I know that we all got opinions and all of that stuff about different things, but that's why I was just like, let me just stick to like this same old cycle that goes over and over, right? So let's keep going. And slavery. And oh yeah, so and we'll talk about it later too, because one it's a war on black economics. So of course we need to talk about black businesses and stuff like that, and supporting each other when it comes to our own stuff. You know what I'm saying? It made it that much harder. Now we can clearly see the difference between black people and slavery and white immigrants who voluntarily came over here as indentured servants. Now, that does not mean that they were treated fairly or treated right, but you cannot compare the treatment that they received and that black people received. And most European immigrants, you know, they were promised land if they came over here and worked for a certain period of time, and they called it the head right system. But they also weren't getting what they were promised either. And that doesn't mean that slave owners didn't treat white servants harshly, right? We saw the John Punch case where three servants ran away, 2 were white and 1 was black. But the difference is the 2 white servants only got 4 additional years of servitude. The black man was enslaved for life. And that was essentially already the difference. Now, one story a lot of people like to use to say, all right, now, just so we know, right, it hasn't changed at all, right? Of course, we know how white immigrants is still treated differently because all this talk about immigrants, but let's see all these Ukrainians
Trump
and all
administration is
these.
receiving more criticism for allowing a group of 59.
They're not South Africans, but the ones who have come over here from South Africa, right? Welcome with open arms, giving all types of stuff. Now, I remember we were saying that a year or two ago, Natalia, and Boris or whatever their names are, gonna probably be your next wave of cops, and now probably which would have turned out to be the ICE people, probably. You know what I'm saying? Who knows, right? Because then you see, you know, Spanish people throwing other Spanish people out. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know what happened. They throwing the white ones out too. What happened to the white immigrants? Get them the hell out of here. I'm about to call ICE on all of them goddamn European immigrants.
Trump administration is receiving more criticism for allowing a group of 59 white South Africans to enter the U.S. as refugees.
As Fox's Mike Emanuel reports, the move is prompting strong criticism from immigration advocates.
Let me see the order or something.
As President Trump's immigration crackdown continues,
Welcome to the United States of America.
the administration rolled out the red carpet for 59 white South Africans they call refugees, saying they faced racial discrimination back home.
We're sending a clear message that the United States really rejects the egregious persecution of people on the basis of race in South Africa.
President Trump claims the U.S. had to take in the group because
South Africa,
are being killed in South Africa in what the president calls a genocide. But there's no evidence that's taking place, and some civil rights advocates are now raising questions about the decision to admit only white refugees at a time when the administration has cut off access to others facing war and famine.
Flying white Afrikaners over here to the United States to find refuge where they deny refuge for everybody else from war-torn communities at that. I mean, this is very clear to us.
The White House says this group.
Yeah. It's clear to everybody, right?
Now to our coverage of the war in Ukraine. People continue.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a different white country.
As this war rages on.
No, this is a different white country, but you know, y'all get the point here. All right. Speaking of white immigrants and stuff like that, you know.
Are you considering revoking the TPS status for the more than 200,000 Ukrainians?
20,000 Ukrainians. God damn, get them out of here. 20,000 of them getting like that welfare and all that other stuff. Get them out of here. The hell? These damn immigrants out of here.
Revoking the TPS status for the more than 200,000 Ukrainians who live here in the U.S.
What are you saying?
The Ukrainians that are here in the U.S.
I don't understand.
On GPS? GPS, temporary. Oh, I thought you said GPS. GPS. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know nothing now. Huh?
There was some news saying that they were going.
Now their ability to play stupid is crazy, right? Because like, I- who believes that, right? Because you know, oh, Negroes here, get them out of here. You ain't even got to finish the question, right? Oh yeah, they gotta go. You know what I'm saying? From their shithole countries, they gotta go. Oh, what's this? GPS. I don't. Their ability to play stupid, right, or try to anyway. But it doesn't really matter, right? What they say is what they do. You know.
To be revoked and they were going to be deported from the country. Are you considering that for the? Well, we're not looking to hurt anybody, and we're certainly not looking to hurt them. And I'm looking at that, and there were some people that think that's appropriate and some people don't, and I'll be making a decision pretty soon. Okay? President, are you considering revoking the TPS status for the?
Yeah, well, we'll see how that works out. Anyway, so let's get to the main point. The point, because they're going to be who they are, right? We was talking about it, right? The chimp goes crazy and rips your face off, and you be like, "Damn, this chimp went crazy," but the chimp was a chimp the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Or you have a anaconda in your house as a pet and be like, damn, the anaconda ate my baby. I can't believe it. And it was a snake the whole time. This didn't go crazy. It was just an anaconda. You know what I'm saying? So what they do is what they do. But our response to it, that's what hurts my heart and my soul. You know what I'm saying? Like it hurt some of my anger, it turned into sadness. I had a lot of sadness and or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't see any other way around it. But the way that's going right now, it was no other way. Black and white people were treated the same was a story about Bacon's Rebellion. Now, how many of you have heard about Bacon's Rebellion? Now, I like to call Nathaniel Bacon the original John Brown. And if you know me, then you know that's not a compliment. But in 1676, Nathaniel Bacon led a revolt, Bacon's Rebellion, that ended with Jamestown burned to the ground.
Bacon's rebellions led to tighter British control of the colony. It may also have hastened the movement toward a labor system based on black slavery. Some historians argue that the Virginia planters, fearing another insurrection by the frontier white servants, began to turn to Africa for laborers. The strategy was to divide blacks and whites by creating an artificial color line. It's at this moment when race and racism radically alters the system of forced labor that had been practiced by human civilizations for thousands of years by injecting race into the equation. Again, Tim Wise explains.
So there was no white race, but in the colonies
Hold on, y'all. Good white one is speaking. Yeah, y'all be quiet now.
of what would become the United States. What did we see in the 1660s, 1670s? We began to see that Africans of indentured servant status realized, as did the white indentured servants, the Europeans who hadn't even been called white yet, that they had a lot of things in common, like the fact that they were all getting their clock cleaned by the elite. And so they would get together more than our history books taught us to foment rebellion against the elite to try to get a better deal for themselves on the basis of economic necessity.
Hey, and by the way, before I let them keep going, I'm gonna let y'all guess how that worked out for black people every time they allegedly got together more than like what should be one would be more than they tell you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna let y'all work that problem out on y'all own, and y'all can give an answer for that one. How many times has it worked out for you?
And economic justice. And what did the elite do when you see that you're outnumbered by black and white folks who are penniless, landless, peasants? You have to do one of two things. You either have to kill them all, but you can't do that because who's going to work? Rich folks weren't going to. They had to get poor people to work. The whole point was to be a person of leisure back in those days. That was the goal, was not to work. So you couldn't kill them all. You didn't want to kill them all. You have to do the work yourself. You have to build your own levee, build your own house. No, pick your own tobacco, harvest your own cotton. No, we're not going to do any of that. So you can't kill them, but you can co-opt them. And so the elite in Virginia, for example, in the colony, begins to give certain carrots to people of European descent, saying things like,
Yeah, what up, Raw? Shouts out to Raw in the building.
We're going to let you own a little land, not much, but just a little. And we're going to get rid of indentured servitude. Now you're free labor. And by the way, once you're free labor, you get 50 acres of land just because you're free labor, see? So we're going to cut you in on this deal. We're going to let you enter into contracts. We're going to let you testify in court. And here's the best of all. We're going to put you on the slave patrol to keep those people in line, right? The idea was you're still going to get your clock clean. We still don't like you. We still aren't going to really empower you or change your economic subordination, but we're going to make you honorary members of this team, and you're going to help us keep those other people down. And so they got a little taste of power, and it did effectively divide and conquer those coalitions. Those rebellions began to stop almost instantly.
Now, I'm before we even get to this story here, because I like this one here to this white savior myth and this togetherness myth. This story here, it aligns up perfectly with that, like how stupid it is, right, to keep doing that stupid stuff over and over and over, right? But before we even do that, that dude right there is a good example, because if I be like, name me a good white, you'd be like, Jaron Elliott, this dude here, you know what I'm saying? And what you do is let these fools into your circles time and time again, right? And before we even get to the BS, because a lot of like, especially black people, like 5%ers and all that, like to be all racist is a construct and all this. This is where before this point, they try to use this point as white people and black people can get together, right? But they don't tell you what they was getting together to do, the context of it, or any of it. You know what I'm saying? How it necessarily worked out for you, right? So, and before we do that though, and there's a reason why I'm glad I was pathetic when it came to that white dude, right? Because then you have situations like them where they get out of line and get comfortable and then disrespect, elders like Francis Cress Welsing,
Don't tell me Negro, that's nothing. Talking about white privilege of him. See, I'm not talking about Tim Wise, I know of him. He is talking about white privilege. I'm talking about the system of racism, white supremacy. And interestingly, yes, I have been informed that Mr. Wise said that Dr. Frances Welsing is, her discussion is pseudoscientific bullshit.
Really?
This is fascinating because he not only says he's white, but he says he's a racist. You see, so if he identifies himself as white and a racist, then he is supposed to be putting down a black person who has talked about what racism, white supremacy is. See, talking about white privilege is not talking about the demographic and the genetic motivation for white people who classify themselves as white seek to have privilege and seek to dominate. You see, so he goes off talking about white privilege, and then people who classify themselves as white and will fund him as the white person who goes around talking about this. You see, but dismissing a person like Neely Fuller or dismissing someone like myself as black people who have analyzed this problem. You see, it would be like Jewish people going to a German and asking the German people to define and discuss anti-Semitism. That's ridiculous. But anyway.
I'm glad.
And the Jewish person being like, yes, sir, you show it right. This is a good German right here.
You brought that to my attention because in watching him and listening to him off and on, it brings clarity that he was coming through the back door then trying to gain favor of our people, which is an old trick, to try to get them to see his side, to maybe side with him to show, look, our people are mean. And then at the same time, downplaying what you've done in study. So that brings to light what people have to read into, just like the books, just like the ball games, just like the distractions that they could use, which is a learned behavior, to have people believe or think they believe that you're on their side. And I want to take that up a notch after the quick break, because this is something that I would hope people have their pens and papers while we've been discussing this to take notes, because I'm not going to entertain any calls, family, only because Dr. Wilson's plethora of information does not need many interruptions at this point. So I appreciate your energy listening. We're going to take a quick minute of subjects, especially one.
All right, and one other thing that goes like that really does piss me off for real though is like how they and fools like this dude. And when you even look at a lot of Black history or get a lot of books, a lot of the times the authors are white. They make so much money profiting off of whatever racket they got going on. You know what I'm saying? And when we talking about like at the beginning, I always economic warfare, they profit off of every single aspect. But we look at well, they said something nice, you know what I'm saying? But then ask them, yeah, do you think Black people should have our own blah blah blah? You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah. Shouts out to Erica in the building. I appreciate her for coming through, you know. And let's see. Hopefully it's still on the right part.
On you, but I can definitely say.
So this brother was talking to him.
Has gone out and had sex with a white person because of that, or has turned over any substantial part of any nonprofit organization or grassroots effort to white people, not just me, but any white person, because I know they haven't turned anything over to me, nor would I have accepted it, but any white person as a result of hearing me speak. And if you do have examples, I would like names, because I doubt seriously that you can point to a single solitary example of what you have just claimed will happen as a result of people being inadequately suspicious of me. I mean, it's fascinating.
Well, see, the thing. Oh, wait. See, you asked a question, but then you give a commentary.
Yes, I
can
did.
I get the
Yes,
question
I
so I can give me the question again, please, so I can answer it.
I would like to know if you have a single solitary example of any non-white person in any audience of mine for the past 15 years who, after hearing me speak and being inadequately suspicious of me, has then said, gee, I think I'm going to go have sex with white people now, or I think I'm going to go and turn over my entire grassroots nonprofit strategy to white people, because after all, Tim seems like a good guy, so I assume I can trust all of them.
I cannot point to any non-white person and say conclusively it was because of Tim Wise, but yes, I can point to specific non-white people who have heard you speak, and after having heard you speak, that person demonstrated confusion. They spread confusion about racism, white supremacy, and I can list specific ways. Now, I can't hang it all on you because this is ongoing. The confusion is being spit out everywhere. So I can't say that if they had not heard Tim Wise, they would not be doing these things. I can't make it that conclusive, but you certainly are not helping. You are not doing what you claim, what you allege to be about, which is working against racism, white supremacy. What you're doing is on par with the way I see racism, white supremacy being practiced every day, which is to have non-white people not suspicious of white people. Okay. I can't hang it entirely on you, but I can definitely say you are contributing to the maintenance and refinement, and I want to highlight that. You are contributing in a huge manner to the refinement of racism, white supremacy. And yes, I can name specific non-white people, victims of white supremacy, that you have had a huge impact on in terms of their confusion. Maria here in Seattle would be one. Now, this is a non-white person. In fact, let me share a story with you. Okay. To show how implicated you are in this, Timothy.
Okay.
Maria, I don't want to give her last name out because she might not be cool with that, but Maria here in Seattle, she was present at the lecture that you gave last spring here in Seattle with the Bush Speaker Series. Mm-hmm. She assisted you in selling books. Do you remember Maria?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's a non-white female, correct?
Yes.
You probably don't remember.
Okay. Now, Maria, after your presentation, I can't say it was because of you, but I definitely think your presentation and you were a contributing factor and a significant factor. She had a meeting, Husky Efforts Against Racism, okay? Now, she did this presentation with a white person, with several white people, I believe. There were several white people in attendance, and I believe there was at least one white person who was working with her organizing this event.
Is that like a University of Washington thing, just so I'm clear? Is that like a
Yes,
University
yes.
of
This
Washington?
is
Okay.
a registered student organization at the University of Washington.
Okay.
Not only did she not have a definition for racism, someone asked her what was her definition for racism. She didn't have a definition, and she did not realize what an extraordinary problem that is to allege to do work against racism, and you don't have.
All right. And y'all get the point there, But anyway, I'll let y'all keep going. Okay, so yeah, we'll go back to the original dude here, right? The first John Brown, first Tim Wise, first Jane Elliott here. Now, y'all know I like to take away certain talking points, especially the talking points that create the white savior complex. And I think with the Bacon's Rebellion, this white savior complex kicks in with a lot of people. And a lot of people try to say, well, black and white people united to fight back. And it's about classism and not racism. And they point to this story. But the truth is, we already clearly see differences in race and how people are treated. But some people just have to give him credit for uniting black and white people through classism. And in a way, for the people who were fighting, it may or may not have been about class. But for Nathaniel Bacon, it was not. Y'all know he was in classism, brothers, right now. Wealthy parents, and he was always privileged. His parents paid his way into Cambridge where he could study law, and then they financed this trip for him to get to Virginia. And when he got here, he may have been the governor's cousin or something like that, but he used his privilege to get onto the governor's council. Now, while he was on the governor's council, do you think he said anything about class? No. Do you think he said anything about the privilege that he had over poor whites and poor black people? No, because his intention was never about classism, because he enjoyed his status while it lasted. But the problem was him and the governor constantly argued over how they should handle the Indian situation. Now, this dude, Nathaniel Bacon, wanted to go out and slaughter more Indians so they could take more land. But the governor did not want a war with the Indians. And at this time, it was a brief time of peace as they focused their attention on enslaving black folk. And oftentimes, they used native tribes to help them fight rebellions or to catch runaway slaves. So the governor would not allow him to just go out there attacking Indians. And that's when this dude, Nathaniel Bacon, decided to rebel. He didn't care how the rich people treated the poor, especially when he was one of them. He didn't care how Negroes were treated. He didn't care about class or any of that. He started his rebellion so that he can go and kill more Indians and steal more land. Now, he did play on a lot of issues that poor whites were facing and saying, look how horrible these elites are treating you. But he didn't say his ulterior motive. And he also promised freedom to slaves if they helped him. And the first thing he did once he built the army of white servants, black servants, and black slaves, the very first thing he did was lead them to go slaughter a bunch of Indians. So when the governor found out, he ordered them to stop and sent troops to go stop them. But they heard about it before the troops got there and they was able to avoid them. So then in response, the dude Nathaniel Bacon and his army marched to the governor's doorstep and they burnt down Jamestown along the way. Now, after he burned down Jamestown, most of the white people didn't want any more parts of it, and he lost a lot of supporters. But he was still doing good until he died of diarrhea. But even though his intention was never to solve class, he didn't care about how Negroes were treated. Somehow people still have to give him credit due to the white savior complex, in my opinion. And people find a way to worship him as a hero when he was not. His goal was just to slaughter more Indians and take more land. And now, let me say this, right? Because a lot of people like to be like, "Oh, well, race is just a construct," and then they will point to this and be like, "Whoa, well, this is when white people and black people were united and all blah 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 blah," and classism, right? To go at the elites, right? Where we was all right, and a lot of times they are using it to excuse their clone behavior, right? Because when I be like, I see a lot of stuff that y'all wouldn't see as clone behavior, but it's why we are here that we are today. You know what I'm saying? And y'all might not see that, right? But it wasn't race that is the construct. The how people treated based off of your race was the construct, right? The what they called white supremacy was the social construct, right? And this white dude here, right, didn't care about none of that because he was one of them. And if you want to use this to say that they united to go kill a bunch of Indians, right? So if you going to use the story to be like, oh, we united, y'all united to go kill a bunch of Indians, and then when they start attacking white people, a bunch of other white people was like, nah, I'm not down with that, right? Um, and just so y'all just don't take my word for it, I'll let a white dude tell you, right?
He actually bares his chest to Bacon and the rebels and said, if you're going to shoot me, shoot me. They're going to be angry. They're going to start gathering. We're going to have our rebellion. Things are going to come to a head. And it starts with these frontiers people, the indentured servants, the poor folks, kind of garnering their energy together, a few hundred people creating their own militia to go after the Native Americans, whether or not Governor Berkeley wants it. And they're going to elect a leader in Nathaniel Bacon. Now, Nathaniel isn't really one of them. He's not an indentured servant. He ain't Poe. He ain't Poe. He's pretty rich. In fact, his wife is a cousin of the Berkeley family. Now, what was probably going on is Nathaniel wanted to be in that inner circle. He wanted to be near the reins of power, and he was rebuffed. They turned him away. So he turned.
See, and this is a complex. A lot of people don't tell you about these so-called white say. Anytime you see one of these abolitionists or one of them trying to make a town or a city the quote unquote free black, they have this power complex to where they want to be in power. See, this is why I be used. This was the original dude here, right? And they all have this thing where it's like, well, Negroes are Negroes, right? We have to still control them, right? Just like some today might not be like, oh, well, I'm cool with police shootings and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But they still are Negroes who commit crimes, and yeah, I get it. Like, and all that stuff is some BS, you know? And this dude here was rich, right? He was he wanted to run the show, but they kicked him out. They didn't accept him. And so that's when he tried to unite people. It wasn't no damn classism in the first place. So even the original example they give of classism wasn't even about that. It was a white dude using you to get what he wanted, which was to go kill a bunch of Indians, you know?
Turn to these rebels, to these militias, and they elect him as their leader. Now, it might have had something to do with that he brought a lot of brandy and booze and stuff, but nevertheless, he's going to be their leader. He was only 29 years old. So after they go over the head of Berkeley and they start attacking some of these Native American tribes, whether they were friendly or they weren't friendly, they massacred Native Americans, and they started
friendly or not
attacks on the frontiers people as well. So that's going to increase. But then eventually they go to Jamestown, and there's a story where Governor Berkeley actually bares his chest to Bacon and the rebels and said, if you're going to shoot me, shoot me. And at that point, the House of Burgesses had already voted to reinstate suffrage rights and to limit some of the powers of the governor. So in a sense, they're giving in to the rebels a little bit. But by that time,
all right. Y'all can read the rest if you want. But I can give you, all right, let's look at this modern day Bacon now. She about to lead a rebellion here. She gonna go down in history as one of a revolutionary here.
This video.
This is a tipping point. I'm a veteran, and I'm going to tell you how.
This how Bacon ran up into them to the black people and the quote unquote white servants who was the overseers. But this the speech he gave them.
Marine Corps veteran, and I'm going to tell you how to prepare for the impending civil and world war. And I know that that sounds scary, and I'm not trying to fearmonger here, but please stay with me. Today, JD Vance went on record and publicly declared that that ICE officer who shot Renee Good has absolute immunity before an investigation is even complete, and they have all of the facts. So you know what else that means? That means he thinks he has immunity and Trump has immunity. He just gave every member of ICE permission to unalive Americans. Let me repeat that. Our vice president of the goddamn United States gave total immunity to ICE to off Americans. Don't get it twisted. This is state-sanctioned harm. The same shit that happened in 1930s and 1940s Germany. They are telling us that our lives come second to their authority. And here's the part that people might want to hear. If you are actually paying your taxes still, well, you can stop now. Because last year, they have taken away our rights, our benefits, our opportunity in the United States. And now.
So if we don't have rights, benefits, or opportunities, we ain't got to pay taxes, is what this white bitch is saying. Well, listen to Miss Ann when she says it. If I say, oh, this Negro is crazy. But Miss Ann, Miss Bacon here, the modern day Bacon. Now it's ironic, right? Because you send me some talking about some damn monks walking down the street, right? It's ironic that they wait until now, hundreds of years of injustice, but now is the time where they want to step up because now everybody getting hurt. Right now, now is a proud white woman that got shot. We got to get out on these streets in protest for the most dangerous species in the goddamn universe. And you know, it ain't right. It ain't right. Well, it ain't my business. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so you telling me, right? All it takes is for one of them for everybody to understand right and wrong. But hundreds of thousands of millions of us, nobody can understand nothing. Right? Ain't no monks walking nowhere. Ain't nobody on the thing talking about, well, we are under attack. Right? Ain't none of that. But one time and people understand. But see, that's the problem. Like that, we don't understand it. I'm only saying, like, look, how can we not understand this? This is how it works. Why don't we understand that's how it works? One is too many of us, not hundreds and thousands of us. One of them, and she like, fuck that. We ain't gotta pay taxes no more. We ain't gotta pay taxes no more. Well, if I say it, well, you just talking crazy now. They just gonna get us. Well, she said, "Damn right, Miss Bacon, the modern Bacon rebellion."
They've actually taken away our protection, and our government is
Okay,
constantly government agencies hunting us down and saying that it is okay. Meanwhile, they want to send $100,000 to each citizen in Greenland, while most of us can't even frickin' buy food. We are being destabilized internally while things.
Man, not me. Dr. Amos Wilson back in the day said this about certain immigration populations that may be funneled into the United States, into our community. We are being destabilized, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Maybe this should have happened before for people to be like, oh, I had enough. I'm scared. It's time to do something. Because we was mighty comfortable before. Man, that's why I am glad it is what it is. I'm sorry that y'all got to be scared. I was scared the whole time. Now y'all see how I feel, right? But the thing is, I'm mad at y'all because this is what it takes for y'all to say this. You know what I'm saying? This is what it took. You know.
Are escalating with Russia, with China, with Venezuela, with Europe, and more. We have a fucking target on our backs right now, and we're supposed to pretend like this is all normal? Hell no. This is how societies slide into civil conflict, with erosion, with fear, and with unchecked power. And so this is what I'm going to leave you with. We didn't call World War I and World War II those names when they were happening, okay? Let that sink in. 2,
By the way, I still don't call them that because what black people is like one of the biggest populations in the world. What side was we on? We wasn't involved in it, so there's been 0 world wars so far. Until we get into it, it can't. How can it be a world war? Anyway,
to stop paying your taxes, and you need to keep cash on hand, and you need to have things that you can barter. 3, I hate to say it, but you need to be prepared in your homes, and you need to.
It's too late now. When the white girl tells you, you know it's too late.
It feels heavy. It is. But if we have learned anything from history, it is that power without accountability always turns on the people. And it is time that we stand up.
Oh, I wonder why now is the time, huh? And that's some
JD Vance went on record.
We are being, and the issues that we've been facing with literally being unalived for decades, for centuries, since the inception of this country, but specifically with police.
And I ain't see now not one damn month.
Our community because of qualified immunity. And we've been yelling from the rooftops, hey, at some point this is going to affect you all. Nobody listens to us. The reason why the country is the way it is now, white Americans are finally starting to feel and understand what it means to be an American as a Black person, just a little smidge. It's because of racism. Racism! For her to get up there and be like, oh, our, this, they're just giving them the right to just unalive us in the street. It's like, doesn't that sound familiar? Yeah, y'all been saying all lives matter when we've been talking about Breonna Taylor, when we've been talking about Tamir Rice, when we've been talking about George Floyd, when we've been talking about
not one monk.
Y'all been saying, oh, all lives matter, just comply. Now y'all trying to say her name with this Caucasian lady that got unalive. I'm not saying that she deserved it, but it's just very ironic how now you guys are trying to emulate.
Look, I'll say this, right? I don't know the facts. I don't know if she deserves it or not. All right, maybe she did. Like maybe. Well, what was she doing? Was she in danger? Did she comply? Did she comply? Because if she didn't comply, right, I gotta wait for the facts to come out. So, because if she wasn't complying, I'm just saying.
And imitate what we've been doing to fight for your rights now, because you feel like your rights are being infringed upon, when this is something that we literally have been experiencing and we have been shouting out to the rooftops about. Now, let me just give y'all a little snippet of what qualified immunity means, because a lot of people don't know.
Y'all can go back on the 12 years of my channel and see, but this is a part of qualified immunity right here.
Tonight, a family from Emmett County is speaking out after a verdict was reached in a hit-and-run accident that happened last April. 3 on Your Side's Teddy Reedy has their reaction and joins us from the steps of the Emmett County Courthouse.
Just behind these doors here at the Emmett County Courthouse, a jury found Cody Rollinson not guilty earlier this week. Rollinson was accused in causing the ATV accident that killed Jordan Hill earlier this spring. Hill's family left reeling.
Shocked. It was shocked. Because you have all this evidence, facts, and he still was found not guilty.
April 6, 2025 will always be a day the Hill family remembers forever. It's been 9 months since 10-year-old Jordan Hill was involved in a deadly crash that shook the small town of Gloucester. Shortly after the crash, Rollinson was slapped with 2 charges, the first being aggravated DUI and the second felony leaving the scene of an accident. Rollinson was found not guilty of both charges Wednesday. After the verdict was announced, Hill's family was left stunned.
Right now, I'm still crushed, but somehow I still have faith in the justice system. I just felt that this justice system here just failed us because they had all the evidence. It was all presented in front of them.
She said she still got faith in the damn justice system. Damn. After, I don't know what year y'all want to start. I don't know. Let's just say 700 years. In her child, she still got faith. It just happened to not be in this case. Get the hell out of here. The fuck? I'm sorry. I ain't even mean to cuss, but damn.
I don't understand why and how this could even happen.
Wanda Brown, Hill's mother, says her and her family are still very much grieving the loss of Jordan.
It's been hard. First Christmas, first Thanksgiving, everything is just, it still seems like a dream. We broke and we lost. We have a home, but it's empty. It's quiet.
Ever since Jordan Hill was laid to rest last April, his family has been seeking justice. Now that a not guilty verdict has been announced, Hill's family has to find ways to move forward.
Well, I still definitely want to get justice. So I feel like we should still post him on platforms and just make him known, so they won't let this die down.
The family believes there were a few jurors that knew about the case and should have not been allowed to be on the jury, but we have not been able to confirm those details. Hill's family says even though this was not the verdict they were looking for, they will continue to fight and seek justice for Jordan. Outside the Emmett County Courthouse, Teddy Reedy, 3 on your side.
Damn. Yeah. So qualified immunity, you know. But anyway, so let's go back to it, you know.
Few white women. If this was a shooting of a white
Go
woman,
back to the Bacon Rebellion.
it would be much more surprising.
I want to address something, and this is going to probably rub some people the wrong way and maybe upset some people. But here's the thing. In this whole situation with Renee Good, she was a white woman who was murdered by a federal agent. And we have seen protests over her killing. And some people in the Black community who feel marginalized by the atrocities that have happened in their community at the hands of law enforcement feel like white people never stand up for them, but Black people always stand up for incidences like Renee. And I just want to say, listen, I understand the emotional situation, but you have to look at reality. White people in this country have been standing up for Black people to their own detriment in many cases for hundreds of years. The Revolutionary War took the lives of 320,000 white Americans who were fighting to free Black Americans.
First of all, and see, this is how much, and like now all of a sudden, every single group has stood up to fight. So who the hell is they fighting if everybody fighting on our side? Well, white people, the white people was helping us. The white immigrants was helping us. The Jews was helping us. The Arabs was helping us. The Mexicans was helping us. The Asians been helping us. So who has they been helping us against? For some reason, everybody want to gaslight us into stuff that we already seen, right? It's like crazy making. Even other Black people try to gaslight us into stuff that we know ain't true. Now, this dummy, so he's like so stupid that he's talking about the Civil War, not the Revolutionary War. He can't even gaslight you right. He's not even talking about the right war. You know what I'm saying? So we ain't even got to the Civil War yet. So we ain't gonna worry about that.
And in the civil rights movement, there's so many millions of white people who supported that, who were there with them. And today we have white people like me who say racism, bigotry is wrong, and it must be eradicated from our society in order for us to have a good society. So I understand the history of it, and I understand the emotional pain of it. I do. I get you. I'm with you. And I'm not blaming you for feeling this way. I'm not. This isn't a criticism of you.
Thank you, Cracker.
What I am going to say, though, is when you say no white people ever do anything, you're discrediting the sacrifice of millions of white people who stand with you.
Now watch this, y'all. I would be like, no, name one. And he would probably go online and he would be like, what about Schwerner and Goodman? And I would say, like Khalid Muhammad says, I don't know why they were there, and you don't know why they were there. You know what I'm saying? And it's ironic that they never used the white girl that was there too. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you know it's just a talking point that they've heard to name. But not only that, you mean to tell me out of what, 72 years, only 2 white people have quote unquote died for you or whatever? And I guess they're gonna say this white girl is now the next. They're gonna put her in the history books as Schwerner and Goodman, right? Even though it ain't got nothing to do with me at all, right? And see, this is this myth of this mythological white savior and these good white ones. You know what I'm saying? And our bar for which ones is good is so low that we will take any little thing. We played the saxophone, first black president, right? He didn't say hang all N words. Oh, he's a good one. Yo, our bar is so low that like we'd be like, oh, if one of them compliment us is like you not like the rest, right? It's crazy. But this mentality is why we some damn slaves to this very day. And it's crazy to me.
And though we cannot compare our sacrifice to yours, what we can do is stand together. So don't discredit that, because when you put negativity out there, you end up dissuading people from standing with you. Instead, put positivity out there. Encourage more white people to stand with you. That we should all stand together. An attack on the Somali Muslim.
That's what the bacon dude saying, like, no, they all against us. It's these higher up. Now he was one of them. But it's ironic now that everybody is allegedly feeling it. Now everybody needs to unite and do something and stand up and blah blah blah. Well, in the name of Martin Luther King, RP to him. I don't want to get shot in the face, so I don't have no dreams about holding no little white girl's hand. So I don't want to get shot in the face. So I learned my lesson.
Community should outrage African American Christian community as much as it does the Muslim community.
Y'all should be down with the bombing in Nigeria for the white Christians.
Defeat Nazis and racism and bigotry. We do it with positivity and unity. That is what we need. It doesn't matter if Renee was white. If she'd have been black, Latino, whatever, we all need to have the same response. How do you?
It doesn't matter if that was, but it seemed to have had to have mattered.
In short, dear white people, no. I saw this on Threads, and I want to add to it a little bit. I just want y'all to know that when y'all say stuff like this, this is equivalent to I have black friends, or this is equivalent, and this is equivalent to I don't see color. Right? When you say stuff like this, this is slave owner mentality. Black people, you've made your point. First of all, you've made your, don't say, what? Okay, that's a little egregious. Change in America can't happen without black folks. We need y'all back in the fight. And thank you. As if we're supposed to now rush because y'all are tired of the bullshit that we once warned you about. Mind you, Kamala Harris's entire campaign was based on, hey, vote for me or else this is going to happen.
I should have voted for Trump better the whole time, I guess.
It's not like we have been saying stuff for forever to y'all, right? But now we're supposed to rush and try to like help the country gather itself because you're tired.
Wait, and that's the thing. You don't realize that's what you were doing beforehand when you was rushing to gather yourself, because you was like, well, this is going to happen to everybody, not just us. So we have to step in and intervene, and we can't talk against this. I know we ain't going to get nothing, but we got to wait because now it's going to affect everybody. And you know what? Good. I am so glad. Right? If we got to go out, let everybody go out. How about that? You know what I'm saying? You brought this on yourself. We brought this on ourselves, right? Being so damn weak in the first place. Hey, we had opportunities to get water. Those of us who can live won't live. It is what it is. That's just how it works. But at least we won't be the only ones, right? You know, they'll be like, yo, will you come back and save me? No, not me anyway, but I'm sure a lot of you will. So good luck with that.
No, the answer is no. This is slave owner mentality. Why? Because this is the same manner in which a slave owner was able to gather slaves. Oh, shoot, we need to take over a country. And we can't do it on our own. But we know black people are strong. We know black people have this type of capabilities. We know that if we have them, we can make them do these things for us because we cannot do them on our own. And so what did y'all do?
But she don't realize that also applies for the other side of it too, right? If we have them Negroes fighting the lesser of two evils, we still control them. I'm not hard on the coons because I realize that's just as coon behavior. I try to be like there is no lesser of two evils, but there is a equal of coonness. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no lesser of two clones either. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all went over, y'all grabbed us, y'all took us, y'all experimented on us, y'all ate us. I will never get over that. Y'all ate us. Y'all took our teeth and put it in yours. You make them do
I'm
these
running it
things
back a
for
little
us
bit.
because we cannot do them on our own. And so what did y'all do? Y'all went over, y'all grabbed us, y'all took us, y'all experimented on us, y'all ate us. I will never get over that. Y'all ate us. Y'all took our teeth and put it in yours. You experimented with medicines on us. Still to this day, we are enslaved in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if you've heard of the new Jim Crow law, but prison was set up for us to enslave us, Black people. It just happens to have other criminals in there because people are going criminal. Criminals are going to criminal, right? But when you say stuff like this, it's not going to hit with us. Now, I'm only addressing this because I have so many new white followers that are like, oh my gosh, we're in support of you going to school. You know, I want to go to law school because honestly, I want the tides to turn. Mostly for my family. I don't want my niece and nephews to have to grow up in a world where they are not respected, not loved, not seen, not heard.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of us don't want to come to the obvious conclusion that there is only one way for that to happen, right? And that's for nature to happen, for us to act like everything else does in nature. I'll just put it that way, right? But then you have alleged Negroes. I don't know if she's a mulatto girl or not, but here you go.
All of y'all who are saying this is not our fight, I'm trying to understand where we're coming from because I understand that Black people be on the forefront of a lot of different movements and that our movements have paved the way for other groups, marginalized groups, to get rights in America. So I'm understanding where the logic is going, but I'm telling you the logic is flawed. Anytime anything has ever happened in America, we have always been the scapegoats. We have always been the last leg of the line. They are going to find a way to make this about Black people. They're going to find a way to make this touch Black people. They already have. Like maybe y'all weren't paying attention in class, but
Now, when she said the last, maybe we looking at it wrong, right? Because when they be like, "Oh, they stood by and then it happened to me," maybe everybody else was standing by when it was happening to us, and then that proverb or whatever y'all want to say is now happening to them. It ain't no like we in the front of the line and then now we in the back of the line and all of this other stuff. Maybe they was the ones in the story that was doing the standing around while we were getting killed and all of this stuff for hundreds of years. Did y'all ever think about that? And when it comes back around now, it is hitting them. Maybe this is the comeback around part for them and not necessarily us because we understand, right? What they're going to do, what they continue to do, and at least you ain't comfortable and everybody is aware and politically active and whatever politics mean to you, right? But it should mean what I think it should mean anyway, in my opinion, is the best welfare for us and our people, right? For Black people and our children, right? The next generations. What can we do to control our own economics, our own, right, school system, all of these systems that exist? What do we got to do to control them, right? That's what it is.
in Nazi Germany, did y'all forget that the Gestapo also targeted, sterilized, and put in concentration camps Black Germans? Like this idea that this will not affect us and that it's not our fight. Are you cool? Like what the f- you are? And mind you, we're not saying that right now that Black people are the most affected group. What we're saying is that a loss of rights for one is a domino effect.
Source, of course.
Now, maybe this is the other part of the domino that needs to happen, right? Because I'll give you an example of what happens, right, in a modern term, right? Now, a lot of people is like, probably don't even take this serious or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? But because I'm not sure if this is actually a Black Panther, because it doesn't make sense, right? Because the Black Panthers was the new Black Panther Party, right? and that had something to do with Khalid Muhammad and them. But they're saying the Black Panther Party from this dude who looks like damn near Arab, probably. I don't know, but a lot of people is suspicious about this, you know. But anyway.
Won't no ICE agent ever run up on me. I guarantee you they won't. I'll put a hole in their chest the size of a window. Safe line repair, safe line replace. That's what's gonna happen. They touch me. Unarmed woman was killed by ICE. If you think you're about to come and brutalize the people while we're standing here, fuck around and find out. Our interactions with the police and ICE, and we hold them accountable. We hold them accountable. We patrol the community and we hold them accountable. The Black Panther Party from self-defense, we're the same Panther Party from back in the day, but we're a little more aggressive now, you dig? Carry bigger guns and we don't take no shit. Places where there are a lot of immigrants at, I think that the community around them needs to take special care to them and needs to start escorting them to
Damn Black Panther Party show up now.
Because them ICE agents ain't gonna act like that if it's a bunch of people standing outside with assault rifles and shotguns. It's a semi-automatic shotgun. That means some shotgun shells to shoot out of a pump, they shoot them rapidly. If you are gonna legally arm yourself bigger than what they got. Those who serve in the public, they should be public. They should be fearful that the public's going to be dissatisfied with their job that they're doing, not feeling like they're tyrants, not feeling like they're bullies because they got guns and body armor and walkie-talkies. That makes them.
Now, something ain't wrong. Something ain't right with this damn picture. Why in the hell is the guy daggone Black Panthers now showing the hell up after all of this time to protect some immigrants? Not even to protect Breonna Taylor or all of the names that we constantly name over and over and over. None of that. But now that they've killed the unarmed, quote unquote, because we don't know what she did, right? This car could have been a weapon. I gotta wait for the facts to come out. You know, I don't know what happened, right? She could have been a thug or criminal. We got to see her background, her record, and stuff like that. I don't know if she got arrested before. I don't know what she was into, right? So, but now all of a sudden the damn Black Panthers show up. Ain't that some
White people join the Black Panthers? I think we're ready. The whole reason we are in this mess is because white people weren't even ready to vote for a black woman or get rid of the KKK. And here we are where you all still want to hide behind the bodies of minorities instead of do anything yourself. Men are the only group that still mostly support ICE, and you know that group is fucking bolstered up by white people. Have you ever read about White Panthers or read a book I'm losing my...
Is no. There is a video right now going viral about one of the Black Panther Party members, not sure if he's the founder or not, that is telling other Black people across the United States how they can join the Black Panther Party. And of course, you have white people all in the comment section asking, how can they join? How can they be a member?
By the way, no thanks. How about we show up to protect Black people? I'm in the Protect Black People party. You know what I'm saying? How about that? Can we do that as a collective? What is it about putting our bodies on the line for everybody else? And no matter what it is, you come up and tell me, well, I know we ain't going to be able to get what we need, but we need to protect this society. Why? Why? I don't understand. Break it down to me, please.
Okay, you have a couple of Latino people, but there are more white people in there asking how can they join our organization. And I'm saying our because I'm a foundational Black American. I'm not actually a part of the Black Panther Party by any stretch of the imagination. The operative word is Black in that sentence. It's the Black Panther Party. It's never been the Black Panther Party in France. It's the Black Panther Party. The answer is no. I don't know why we can't have absolutely anything to ourselves. And for those of you who are trying to name drop Huey P. Newton encouraged white people who wanted to assist to organize amongst themselves, never to become full-fledged members of the Black Panther Party. Because you see, if white people join the Black Panther Party, if Latino people join the Black Panther Party, it's no longer the Black Panther Party. It's no longer the Black Panther Party. Now, for those of you who claim that you want to be allies, I'm going to say this personally, and I'm saying this as a person who's not only been...
Now, a lot of people, because I don't even agree with the sister, but I agree with her with the part about no, you can't, right? But I ain't finna be part of it anyway, so you can do what you want to do. I'm not even sure that this is a Black Panther Party, right? But what the white Neanderthal boy said was, have you ever heard of the White Panthers and the Asian? Now, this is the problem with black people, and this is our side of the Bacon's Rebellion. Every time we try to unite with the quote unquote poor whites and all of that stuff, because you do know it was the poor whites who did all of the killing. It wasn't the slave, because when they be like, oh, well, my ancestors wasn't the slave owners. Well, those was the ones who was doing the lynching and the killings. You know what I'm saying? So, but why, they had the Asian Panthers, and guess what they were? You know what I'm saying?
These are Asian American Black Panthers. In October 66, Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton founded the Black Panther Party. Grounded in Black power and Marxism-Leninism, they focused on community care, protecting neighborhoods from cops, running health clinics, and providing free breakfasts for kids. One of Bobby and Huey's college classmates was Richard Aoki, an ex-gang member, army medic, and socialist. He was familiar with guns because of his military service. He became the Black Panthers field marshal, obtaining weapons for neighborhood watches and community safety programs. He wasn't the only militant Asian around. Mike Togawa was born in the Minidoka concentration camp. He grew up in the projects in Seattle, going to school with Jimi Hendrix. Enlisting in the Air Force, he was stationed in the South where he saw Jim Crow up close. He moved to the Bay, then back home where he joined the party. They'd patrol the hood with assault rifles, intimidating police into...
Oh yeah, let's welcome them into these good white ones, and then they turn out
This
to
is
how
Richard
that work
Masato
out.
Aoki, an FBI informant who infiltrated the Black Panther Party. In the 1960s, he was deeply involved as a political informant for the FBI, informing on his fellow Asian activists and on Black Panther Party leaders Huey Newton and Bobby Seale. Going beyond previously disclosed FBI records, the documents show that while acting as a militant leader, Aoki covertly filed more than 500 reports with the FBI between 1961 and 1971. Records show that FBI agents considered Aoki a valuable informant with top-level access to the Panthers, who publicly acknowledged giving them some of their first guns.
Man, some friends we got here, right?
Want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people.
Well, perhaps more than anything else, the Black Panthers stood for the right of black people to defend themselves against white violence, even if it meant carrying weapons and using them in self-defense. But it also brought violent conflict with police. And by 1969, at least 28 Panthers had been killed in shootouts with police. Not many people know that the Panthers got some of their first weapons from a man named Richard Aoki. And nobody knew that Aoki was an informant for the FBI.
There was the White Panther, there was the Asian Panther. How'd that work out for Huey P. Newton?
Agent
Jesus
heard that I was doing research, then he contacted me. His name was Bernie Threadgill. But he says, hey, I know that guy. And he said, Aoki was my informant. I developed him.
Oh, yeah, he was a character. He said, I don't have any interest in communism. And I said, well, why don't you just go to some of the meetings and tell me who's there and what they talked about.
And that's
So one thing led to another, and he was...
And by the way, when he came to the meeting, we was like, come on in, get yourself a plate now, brother. My Asian brother, power to the people. Power to all the oppressed peoples around the world. And he was like, yeah, power to all the oppressed people right now and everybody's names. Lord have mercy. If we got our own damn people who gonna snitch, which makes you think that they ain't gonna... Damn, and that's if we can't get our own stuff straight, we can't invite other people in at that point, you know.
Well, I had never heard of Richard Aoki before Bernie Threadgill told me about him. So I started to research who was Richard Aoki. Aoki was a prominent activist in the San Francisco Bay Area during the 60s.
Definitely, Richard was someone who looked at things politically. The impression I got was basically, if you become his friend, you know, he's like your friend for life.
What's up, Comrade 04? You know I'm telling the truth. You know, black people, this is a good one. This is a good one here. He's standing up. He was in the whole time he's snitching. He's a damn FBI.
And he was like that with most people, you know.
He had been very involved in the Third World Liberation Front strike at Berkeley in 1969. He was one of the most militant leaders of that strike. Aoki had also been involved in a group called the Asian American Political Alliance, one of the first Asian activist groups in the country. He'd also had a connection with the Black Panthers. Aoki was head of the Berkeley chapter of the Panthers and later became a field marshal in the Panthers. And it was known that he had given the Black Panthers guns. I knew from my research that he was a very smart and complex person. He had a fascinating history. His family was interned during World War II. He'd grown up in West Oakland in a very rough neighborhood, predominantly Black and impoverished neighborhood. He was part of a gang. He was involved in a lot of petty crimes. All
right, we don't need to watch a whole documentary on this thug snitch dude here. But I don't know. I just asked Huey Newton how it worked out to have the white Panthers and the Asian Panthers and all that stuff, you know. And it's just the problem. We keep learning these same lessons over and over, right? And then when we ignore history over and over, right? We like, yo, let's do this Bacon's Rebellion thing again and team up because race is a construct. No, the construct is them treating us the way they do based off the way I look. The way that we look is the construct, you know? But then when we still go help them, you know, this is what they say here, you know?
This is a prime example of why we Black people just need to mind our own Black business and focus on what we got going on that we need to fix in our communities. But this Black brother did not learn that lesson, but he found out when he decided he was going to show up to defend the honor of the Venezuelans. Take a look.
Country, you are not from the country. Don't be stupid. You are not from my country.
So he was repeatedly called the N-word, and then you hear the other guy saying, "You are not from this country. You're stupid."
And that's
What are you doing there, bro? Like, seriously, we need to mind our business. And I don't know when we're going to learn. There'll always be some.
I don't think that we are.
Decide they want to defend the honor, as I said, of other people and other races of people. But we just, or not we, some of us, just simply seem to develop selective amnesia and forget about what we're going through, what we got going on in our communities, and how we need to focus on us and building and growing and getting our own and separating and all of those things. Because what is going on against Black people in North America, I keep saying, I don't see any kind of change for the better anywhere in the distant future, near future, extremely distant future. I don't see any kind of eradication happening. So what we need to do as Black people is stop spending time pulling up to these places for other people, only to be called the N-word and to be told you're stupid and this is not your country. I don't.
Right, so when y'all go see them monks and they call y'all the N-word, you know what I'm saying? Don't say nothing. I'm just saying. Because the monks sure ain't show up for this young brother here, right, in Mississippi, where the dude ran over a 10-year-old and killed him and they found him not guilty. They ain't come and walk for that. Or the young sister who got shot in her bed by the police. They ain't come march for that. Or Trayvon Martin. They ain't come march for that. Or Breonna Taylor. Or Philando Castile. Or, I don't know. We'll be here all night naming names. But they damn sure didn't come. Now, I'm gonna stop here because if not, we'll be on here for like another hour, right? And we'll continue from right here on the next one. probably Wednesday at 9:30, right? Because I was just gonna show you the results, right, of the rebellion, right? And when you try to team up to whatever, um, who gets the results and who gets the punishments, right? And so you had the Bacon's Rebellion, and then after rebellion, right, the bunch of laws were created, right? So black people were forbidden from bearing arms and different stuff, and of course we still see how it works out, right? Because you see that these judges who still are judges right now, while we go to their courts, we still have these kind of
Yes,
judges.
serious news right now. A New Hampshire Republican, the chairwoman of the New Hampshire House Education Caucus, has been caught in a signal chat advocating for white-only segregated schools. I'm serious. The chairwoman's name is Kirsten Noble, and according to the Granite Post, these are the signal messages she was caught sending. Quote, when we have segregated schools, we can add all the fun stuff. Imagine the scores, though, if we had schools for them and some for us. Now, following this, she came out and said that she supports politically segregated schools, whatever that means. But the text messages are pretty clear on what she's advocating for. Essentially advocating for segregation because some schools have lower test scores than others. I think everyone
So yeah, let's get these black schools popping.
she is doubling down publicly. She's not apologizing for these remarks. This is a very serious situation. She's an elected member, the chairwoman of the
She's a
New
judge, right?
House Education Caucus, or the committee rather. Spread the word. People need to know. Go read the Granite Post. Follow along for more.
Don't follow him, by the way.
And
We
shout
already
out to
seen.
who exposed the group chat
Why
because,
not?
girl, what is you talking about? Just absolutely crazy work. Now, a New Hampshire Education Committee chair by the name of Kristen Noble.
Black people still so
is
shocked.
told
It's
about a group
crazy.
chat, child. And shout out to the Courier, where you can read the rest of the story. But in the group chat titled ED Policy 2026, she had made some very uncomfortable statements about Black children. And yes, she continued. Just below, she said, imagine the scores, though, if we had schools for them and some for us. I can read that full article at the Grio. She has not responded to comments. And I think somebody stated that she had deleted her LinkedIn. You should delete LinkedIn, and they should absolutely remove you because what kind of cockamamie stuff? We're talking about children. We're talking about children. We're talking about literal children. And her sitting at the New Hampshire House Education Committee, she's the chair of this committee. And imagine.
And to be fair, I don't want my children near them, but I don't got no children, but I don't want no children in my family near them, right? And then of course you have this judge here.
Investigators, a local judge
It might be
accused
the
of
same
making
judge.
racist and homophobic comments is vacating her position after
think
being
it's the
removed
same
from
one,
her
but
docket
it
more
is
than
what
a
it
year
is.
ago.
It's a story the 7 investigators first broke in September of 2024. 7 investigator Heather Catallo is here with what she has learned.
This has been a long process. You'll recall we revealed recordings of Judge Kathleen Ryan making some shocking statements. Judge Ryan has essentially been on paid leave for 15 months and once described herself in those recordings as untouchable. The Judicial Tenure Commission has been investigating this for more than a year, but they did not take action against her. Her lawyer is confirming to me late today that she is retiring, and the vacancy for her position has already been posted by the governor's office for potential candidates to apply for an appointment to the bench.
I can honestly say that, okay, I'm not systemically racist, I'm a new racist.
The 7 investigators were the first to reveal the recordings that Oakland County.
That's what I say. I'm an original racist. I love black people, so there you go.
Officials say prompted Judge Kathleen
I'm an
Ryan's
original
removal
racist.
from her
She a
docket
new one.
in August of 2024.
Black, I'm so off at this Black Lives Matter, hashtag me too. All this, oh my God, I'm like, you.
On Wednesday, a judicial vacancy was posted on the State Bar website saying the former Oakland County Chief Probate Pro Tem Judge was vacating her position on.
Now it's saying that she had until next week to do it, right? So she could still be on there until the 20th. It's not the 23rd of January yet of 2026. So, right.
the bench.
Kathleen A. Ryan presiding. Good morning. You may be seated.
Ryan was a probate judge for 13 years until the Oakland County Probate Court administrator filed a complaint against her, alleging Ryan had been harassing him, calling him after hours for years, and making racist and other inappropriate comments.
I've never met anybody that enjoys hurting people and brags about it the way she does, or intimidating people, scaring people.
Hutton says his complaint was not acted on for months, so he then sent the recordings of his calls with Judge Ryan to state and county officials.
I just want to make it right. And I want the people in Oakland County that come to court to get a fair shake, to have their day in court, to have an unbiased trier of facts.
If you're black from any other country, you're doing way better. If you're an American black person, then you're a lazy piece of
Judge Ryan has been paid for the last 15 months while she was out of the courthouse, and taxpayers have been footing the bill for visiting judges to handle her docket. Now her lawyers say she is retiring and leaving the bench.
Judicial Tenure Commission investigations.
Still getting paid with our damn tax money. Ain't that something? Now we're gonna talk about this on the next one because we'll be here for another hour, right? Because another one was they banned interracial marriages and stuff like that, right? And I wanted to show some of this conversation, but we'll be too long because, of course, who cares what they think? But of course, there's always a damn Negro brother here, and especially this brother here, because he be like, "Yo, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm not black. I'm a Christian." You know what I'm saying? Like OJ, like I'm not black. I'm OJ, right? Okay, but anyway, we'll be on here so we'll pick up on that part on the next one, right? Probably on Wednesday at 9:30. But like I said, another part of it was Black economics and attack on Black economics. So to go out with something positive, we'll talk about some Black business stuff. So I just brought up some Black business in the recent history that we need to start supporting each other, because one of the most important attacks on all of this is an attack on our economics. Because if we don't need to depend on our system, then they have no power whatsoever anyway, besides their guns. But, you know, it is what it is.
In the 1920s, there's a thing called Black Wall Street. It's a conglomeration of Black-owned businesses that many of them were millionaires doing great and wonderful things. And then some people got upset and decided that they're going to find a way to destroy the whole thing. And they did. But where they destroyed the city, they did not destroy the legacy. And so legacy started sprouting out all over the United States. But with us, although that's not why we did it, people started calling us Sacramento's Black Wall Street. Because of the 80 plus businesses that we have here, 95% are Black owned. 40%, if not more, are women owned. And everybody is a person of color. And we're all working on getting our success the old-fashioned way, which is helping other people.
Well, by trade, I'm a manufacturing engineer. And I got talked into buying a condominium several years ago. I was in the Bay Area. The price of the condominium exploded. So that convinced me that having a second profession is a wise thing to do. I left San Jose area in '86 to come up to Sacramento, but my heart was always to work in the Black community. And so when there came a chance to retire from Aerojet, invested my time and energy improving as best I could this area.
FSCDC, which is the Florence Square Community Development Corporation, partners with so many different organizations that are helping people in the community. We've been doing this since 2005, and we have 5 pillars. We call it the beach. Come to the beach, you know? Business, education, arts and culture, community development, and health and wellness. So as long as whatever we do fits within those 5 areas, we are gold.
First of all, this place is unlike any other place. When we actually come here, we see ourselves. You know, other places you go, you really don't see too much about us or our history. When you come here, it has everything right here. When they say the writing is on the walls, it literally is on the walls. So we love this place. You know, other cultures come here, they respect what's going on here. And that's what we really love about that. So yeah, it's just a place full of, you know, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding.
We have some amazing store owners here. And I think that when the public comes in and actually really get to experience it, they'll see, you know, they won't have to go to those malls and deal with the parking and the rude service, because here you're going to get great service. You know, you're going to feel like the store owners really care about you and you're not just buying something. You know, we know our customers by their names, and, you know, I feel like this is a great place to be.
You know, the support from the owner, Mr. Donaldson, as well as other patrons.
Yeah, shouts out to them. I guess I'm gonna start selling I Am a Man shirt and I'll be rich. Just sell I'm a Man shirt to black people, and maybe I'll at least be rich off that, right? I'll be a capitalist. Anyway, I'm gonna stop right there, right? We're gonna be back we're gonna be back Wednesday for the next live at 9:30, probably around 9:30. So we'll continue with that, and we'll continue with that conversation that I was talking about. But for the last words, I will say shouts out to MLK, because it's about to be MLK Day. So we're going to let him have the last words before we wrap up here today. And I will also say shouts out to Karma 804. Shouts out to Karma 804. I appreciate you listening. Much love to you. You already know. Shouts out to Raw. I appreciate you for being in the building, Raw. Shouts out to Erica Howard. I appreciate Erica for being in here. Y'all definitely show y'all love to Erica. Shouts out to my brother Anthony, who was in the building. I appreciate you, my brother, and everybody else who was listening. But for the last words, let's let Martin Luther King have the last words here.
And I come here tonight and plead with you. Believe in yourself and believe that you're somebody. And as I said to the group last night, nobody else can do this for us. No document can do this for us. No Lincolnian Emancipation Proclamation can do this for us. No Kennedysonian or Johnsonian Civil Rights Bill can do this for us. If the Negro is to be free, he must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. Don't let anybody take your manhood. Be proud of our heritage. As somebody said earlier tonight, we don't have anything to be ashamed of. Somebody told a lie one day. They couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. Look in your dictionary and see the synonyms of the word black. It's always something degrading and low and sinister. Look at the word white. It's always something pure, high, and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
That's right. We should all be proud of that. I appreciate that, Ms. Carmado, for I definitely appreciate you. Um, don't be ashamed of who you are, and don't be ashamed of how you feel either. And don't let nobody gaslight you either. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna add that on. And don't let nobody gaslight you. You remember what you remember, and always remember that we are all we got. So at the end of the day, it is what it is, man. We have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.